gaping door, and suddenly everything was fast. The black smoke swallowed him fast. The heat washed over him fast. Heat, but no light. He dropped to his knees for safety. He started crawling in the dark, searching, blind, deaf except to the click of the regulator, the thump of his own heart. His heart. That was fast, too, and the flames were fast to the right and left of him. Guerrero worked to calm himself. At best, he had 45 minutes of air in his pack, but breathing this hard, he'd be on bells in 15 minutes, tops. A Catholic, he drew himself down into the quiet of his faith and handed his life to God. Experience had taught him he could do this, and it worked. His breathing slowed. The world slowed and grew quiet again. Good, he thought. Good. It would make the air pack last longer. He began to make his way, crawling through the roiling darkness, searching for the fallen. You found them just inside the doors, usually. They tried to get out and couldn't work the knob or couldn't locate it. Then the smoke overcame them, and they went down right there, sometimes blocking the door so you had to shove it open to get to them. Kids, lots of times, you found hiding under a bed or in a bathroom in the bathtub, any place that felt safe to them in the panic of the moment. But Guerrero found the first woman at the foot of the stairs. Crawling on his hands and knees, blind in the black smoke, he felt the yielding softness of her hand beneath his heavy glove. His heart seemed to stop and darken, because he knew at once there was no chance for her. Swiftly, expertly, he worked her limp body over his shoulder. It was still too hot in the house, too black for him to stand straight. He found his feet, but kept low, very low, and charged back toward the doorway with the woman slung over his back. It wasn't until he laid her on the grass that he saw she had been murdered. Even when he did see it, he could barely comprehend what he saw. He brought her body forward and released it, cradling her head in his hand to soften her landing. She floated gracefully down to the grass, her arms slanting out to either side of her. She seemed to him oddly untouched by the smoke and flames. She was a woman in her 40s or early 50s, blonde and slim and attractive. She was wearing an elegant powder blue nightgown. There was a bullet hole in her, right in the center of her torso. It flashed through Guerrero's mind that she'd been killed with a deer rifle, something like a .30-06 slug. The hole in her was almost the size of a fist. For another second, he still considered starting CPR, but there was no point. She was way, way dead. Guerrero noticed another fireman's legs in front of him. He raised his face to speak his shock to a brother. It was Captain Flanagan. Guerrero saw the captain's mouth moving in the shape of a curse. Then he saw the captain turn his eyes. So he turned too. There was Jack Morton, also SNR, also from Truck 48. He was carrying a full-grown man over his shoulders. When he laid the man down, Guerrero could see his face was gone. A tangled, gory mess. A rifle wound, for sure. A sense of urgency took hold of Lenny now. Before he thought it through, he was charging into the house again. Something in his mind had clicked, and the sound of the scene had come back on. The air was full of sirens and shouts, and the hoses blasting and the angry roar of the flames. There were more engines arriving now, more trucks, another hose. Guerrero crossed the threshold and saw at once that the smoke inside was turning from black to gray. Some patches were already white. The teams were winning their battle with the flames. Now Guerrero could make out shapes moving. He could see the outline of the staircase up ahead, a wide, majestic rising path going straight up, then branching to the left and right. A ghost of a figure was descending toward him through the smoke. It was Bernard, another SNR man. He was carrying a body in his arms. As he came closer,